I want you to picture a heist. But forget about vaults and getaway cars. The weapons here, signals and code. Today, we're diving into hacking Hermes, the incredible story of how one of the world's most advanced military drones was literally stolen right out of the sky. Yeah, no missiles, no dogfights, none of that. This is all about an invisible war, a battle of signals and code. It's what allowed a super state-of-the-art weapon to be captured without anyone firing a single shot. This is the story of how a drone was electronically hijacked. So, you're probably asking, how on earth did this happen? Well, before we get into the how, we really need to understand the prize. I mean, what was this thing they captured? Okay, so let's set the scene. It's March 4th, 2026. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, makes this absolutely stunning announcement. They say they've captured an Israeli Hermes 900 drone. But here's the kicker. The most important word in that whole claim? Intact. That means fully armed with all its secret tech still on board. A huge deal. And we're not talking about just any old drone here. The Hermes 900. I mean, this thing is basically Israel's eye in the sky. You can think of it like a flying spy station. It's designed to just hang out up there for hours, packed with the most advanced sensors. It flies itself using GPS. Its data links are all heavily encrypted. This machine is a genuine hunter, built for spying and for precision strikes. Which, of course, brings us to the big mystery, right? How do you possibly capture a machine like this? A drone that's specifically designed to be sneaky and tough to take down, and you do it all without firing a single missile? Well, the answer isn't in explosions, it's in a totally different kind of warfare. All right, this is where we get into the really cool stuff, the nitty-gritty of the hack itself. Welcome to the invisible battlefield of electronic warfare. So, electronic warfare, or EW for short. What is it? It's basically the art of using the electromagnetic spectrum as a weapon. We're not talking about blowing things up. We're talking about disrupting, deceiving, or just flat out denying the enemy's ability to use their own tech. It's a war fought with invisible signals. Now, the main trick they used here is something called GPS spoofing. And this is it's so clever. Instead of just trying to block the drone's GPS signal, that's called jamming, the attackers broadcast their own fake GPS signal, but they made it stronger. So the drone's own navigation system just latched right onto this fake signal, thinking, yep, I'm on the right path. But in reality, it was being led somewhere else entirely. Okay, so let's really break this down. Jamming versus spoofing. It's a super important difference. Jamming is like just screaming really loud to drown out a conversation. It's messy, it's noisy, and the drone knows immediately that something's wrong. It would probably just trigger a fail-safe and try to fly home. But spoofing? Oh, that's way more subtle. It's like whispering a convincing lie right into the drone's ear, making it believe something that isn't true. It's all about deception, not just disruption. And there's another vulnerability they probably went after, a system called ADS-B. Now, this is what pretty much all aircraft use to broadcast their position, so they don't run into each other. But here's the massive problem. Those messages are totally unencrypted. There's no authentication at all. So an attacker can just inject ghost aircraft into the system to cause chaos or even hide a real threat. It is a huge, huge blind spot in aviation security. Look, this Hermes capture, it was no accident. It wasn't a fluke. It was the result of years of work. You can actually trace it back. Remember 2011? That's when Iran captured a top-secret American RQ-170 Sentinel stealth drone. And that whole exploit was blamed on a powerful Russian EW system called the Avtobaza-M. Fast forward to 2024, and guess what? Reports start coming out that Iran has that exact system protecting Tehran. So the Hermes capture in 2026, it's just the next logical step. It shows how far their skills have come. So, okay. Capturing the drone was the mission, but what they did next? You could argue that's even more important. This is where you turn a piece of captured hardware into an absolute intelligence goldmine. Yeah, Defense Security Asia put it perfectly. They called it a major intelligence coup, and that's exactly what it is. I mean, think about it. Getting your hands on one of your rival's most advanced weapons completely intact, that is the kind of intelligence jackpot that can actually change the balance of power. So what's the playbook once you have it? You start reverse engineering it. You take it apart, screw by screw. You analyze all the special materials, you map out the complex guts, the electronics, and this is the really big one, you get to work trying to crack its encrypted communications. The whole point is to understand it, copy it, and figure out how to beat it next time. And the stuff they could learn, it's mind-boggling. You dissect the software, you could uncover Israel's secret flight algorithms, you could figure out its sensor fusion techniques. That's the fancy way it combines data from all its different sensors to see what's happening. And maybe most importantly, you get a direct look inside those encrypted communication links. That's like getting the blueprint for how to defeat them in the future. And listen, we know this isn't just some theory. It's happened before. After Iran got that American RQ-170 Sentinel back in 2011, they did this exact thing. A few years down the road, what do they show off? The Sagaya drone. It was a pretty clear copy. So yeah, this reverse engineering threat, it is absolutely real. What this whole incident does is pull back the curtain on a whole new kind of war. One that's not fought with bombs, but with electrons. You really have to think about modern war as having two fronts now. There's the kinetic stuff, missiles, bombs, physical destruction. But right alongside it, you've got this non-kinetic warfare. That's where the goal is just to shut down your enemy's systems using jamming, spoofing, hijacking. Capturing a drone like this, it's a perfect example of a non-kinetic win that has massive strategic consequences. And if you listen to what Iran claims, this Hermes drone isn't a one-off thing. Their scorecard, according to them, includes intercepting some of the best American and Israeli drones around. We're talking the MQ-9 Reaper, multiple Hermes models. The message they're sending is that they believe they're winning this invisible war. And the numbers they're throwing around are pretty big. Iranian officials claim that since the conflict ramped up in late February 2026, they've neutralized 35 American and Israeli drones. 35. That points to a serious, coordinated, and apparently effective electronic warfare campaign. Okay, so if the attacks are getting this smart, what's the other side supposed to do? How do you defend against it? And that brings us to our last section, how to harden the shield. It really is a constant cat and mouse game. To beat spoofing, for instance, you build in redundancy. If the American GPS signal gets hacked, fine. The drone just switches over to Europe's Galileo system, or maybe Russia's GLONASS. You also use something called sensor fusion. That's a fancy term for having the drone double-check its work. It compares its GPS location with data from its own internal sensors and maps. So if the GPS says it's flying over a mountain, but its cameras see nothing but ocean, it's going to know something's very wrong. And now you're even seeing AI getting trained to spot the tiny, tiny little clues in the data that could mean a hijack is in progress. All of this leaves us with a pretty big question, doesn't it? The hacking Hermes incident shows a huge shift in what warfare even is. It tells us that controlling the sky isn't just about having the fastest jets or the stealthiest bombers anymore. When the battlefield becomes a battle of code, maybe true air superiority, well, maybe that belongs to whoever is the best hacker.